Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to Hashtag Pastor Besties. That's Melissa.
That's Nicole.
And today, we have a very special Hashtag Pastor Besties.
Not like a very special, like Saved by the Bell Hashtag Pastor Besties. Just a special one.
This is our version 1.5 of transitions.
Yes.
So in the last episode, we talked about cutting ties with a former congregation.
Yes.
And today, we're going to be talking about how to start well in a new congregation.
Yes.
So join us.
Yay.
Today on Hashtag Pastor Besties. Okay, so we talked about cutting ties. It's an important step in the moving process. But now, how do you start well?
Yes.
How do you start well in a new congregation? So I have never been the senior pastor when I've transitioned, because I'm an associate, my second appointment too. But somebody once told me, and I think this might be pretty smart, to preach old sermons for a little bit, like maybe even up to 6 months, so that then you don't have to spend time working on sermons, and you can instead spend that time getting to know your congregation and your community and building relationships.
Sure. I feel like 6 months might be a little long.
I think that's probably true.
But, I mean, you have to know yourself and your community. So
Right.
Maybe that'll work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when I first moved, I used exegesis that I had done before, but not necessarily.
Oh, yeah. Can't use the same exact sermon. Like, tweak it.
Yeah.
Spend some time tweaking it and updating it.
Yeah. I love to get to know you events.
Ooh.
Meet the pastor events. And it's not just meet the pastor, but it's the pastor getting to meet you too.
Right.
And I have those, I try and have them at people's houses if possible, at the church. And personally, I open up my own home for those too. I know people have differences of opinions on what this means.
Right.
So, I mean, use your best judgment. But
you're not going to go wrong in meeting the new people, though, because you're going to
No.
learn so much about people.
No.
And they're going to see that you're trying to get to know them, and that's going to go a long way in your relationship building. So that's really good advice.
I always have people take notes during those too, so that I can refer to those later to be like, who was that person who said that they were an accountant? Or who was that person who said that they were really disappointed in our website?
Do you just have like somebody walking around with like a pad of like a note paper, like listening in on your conversations?
Well, no, I usually have someone from the staff parish committee who is present also, and they're the ones who are taking notes.
All right.
Just like, and we tell them ahead of time, and like it's not like,
who is this weirdo over here with the notepad?
You know that weirdo.
The recorder, like in their face.
Can you say that again? A little bit louder? A little bit louder now?
That is really smart, though, because you meet so many people. To have some notes to look back on is really good.
Right.
That's really good. So even if you don't have somebody following you around, maybe stop and take some notes when you're done for the evening. That's smart.
It's okay.
Absolutely. I think that part of coming to a new appointment is you're part pastor and part detective.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
You know, there's a lot to figure out. There's a lot of stuff that you don't know.
Yeah.
You got to figure out where the landmines are.
Where the old wounds are. Right? I mean, it can be something as small as you move something on the altar, and that may be something
then
that
you
was
get
a
reappointed.
huge fight like 5 years ago, and you just don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So, yeah, you do play detective a lot and pastor of trying to just figure out what the story is.
Right.
And asking probing questions without being, like, intrusive.
Yes.
And yet, I mean, you're there to be a part of the community, so...
Well, yeah, and then they think, you know, that you're taking interest, you're investing, and that is all good stuff, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but you have to figure it out. If you have, like, a staff, they're hugely helpful in helping you do that. And you'll have some members that are helpful in that, too, but it's good to listen to stories.
Yes.
You know, to even just ask, hey, what are some things I need to know about this congregation that maybe I wouldn't pick up on otherwise?
Right. And I think people will tell you just about anything, especially if you're listening. Even if it's not a direct question that you've asked, sometimes people will tell you stuff you just have to listen to it and pick up on that nugget. Like, that's interesting. Can I follow that along somewhere?
Right. Mm-hmm. That's really important.
Yes.
Listening is such an important part of being
absolutely
a pastor in general, but especially when you move.
Well, and I think that in order to know and to help the congregation vision for the future, you have to know where they've been. And you have to honor the work that they've done in the past, too. I mean...
Right. Well, and it's my guess that if you come in with your own agenda saying, well, this is how we're going to do things, you're not going to be successful where you are. Hardly ever.
It's the people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Yeah.
So care.
Yeah.
Be a human.
You know, sometimes they say, like, don't change things for the first, 6 months, a year. You know, what do you think about that?
So I think that there's some wisdom in sort of like the major changes.
Right.
In my appointment that I've been at now, one of the things that I had said was the previous pastor and we probably couldn't be more opposite of each other in so many ways. And so
it's
I was
good
like,
to just point out.
Yeah. So
right.
I know this, and that means that things are going to change. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're going to be accidental that I just don't know. And sometimes they're on purpose. Sometimes it's an intentional change. Right. But I always wanted to maintain that I was open. So if it was something that was important to you or to the church, I don't want to discard anything.
Right.
And so if it was an accidental change that, really hurt you or some sort of tradition, I want to know. And it doesn't mean that we can't change back.
Right. Right. I think just being open about those kind of things is so important. And knowing that we all have ego, that we want to come in and do things the way we want to do them, the way we know is right to do them. Mm-hmm. We can't do that. We have to be sensitive. Mm-hmm. These people are mourning a pastoral change. Mm-hmm. They're going through transition. Yep. And we're going through transition, which means we need to be gentle with ourselves, too, and our families. So, you're not only starting a new job, which is stressful enough, but you're moving.
Isn't that like two of the big ones?
Two of the big life transitions, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of stress to put on you and on your family.
Yeah.
Oh, moving is stressful. Yes. And sometimes you just need some time to unpack your life so that you feel like normal. Mm-hmm. And if you're like so involved with the church and changing up everything, are you processing your own transition?
Right.
Saying goodbye to a community that you loved for some time and saying, okay, goodbye to that, hello to this. That's heavy stuff.
Yeah. Well, and moving, not taking away from even the congregational aspect, which is a thing.
Right.
Then there's also the personal aspect of moving, of finding the grocery stores in town, the good grocery stores in town.
Right. New doctors. Just the worst.
New hairstylists.
I don't even want to talk about it. I can't.
Right?
That's huge.
Yeah. Schools for your kids.
Right.
I mean, there are so many things outside of even
the good ice cream shops.
Oh my gosh. Where's the closest Starbucks? These are things that you need to know. And they're
That's right.
Stressful. It's stressful, Nicole. It's stressful.
It is. So you have to be gentle with yourself and don't be afraid to take vacation early.
No.
I think that's one thing that is huge when I move. I always take vacation within like the first quarter of the year.
Smart. I don't, and it gets me into a bad pattern.
I'm going to insist that you do.
I know. I hope
it's
I'm not
important.
moving for a while.
I think. Well, me neither. But I think that we tell ourselves like, I can't go. I'm still unpacking. I'm new. But no, like leave, get out of your house, get away from the church.
Yeah.
Be with your family and take some time because it's been a lot. You need to rejuvenate.
Yeah. So transitions again. So we've talked about some advice for pastors and for clergy who are moving to a new place. But then there's also congregations who are going to welcome people.
What if you are a new congregation receiving a new pastor?
Yes.
What can you do to help your pastor? Well, you know what? We're both pastors, so we got some advice for you congregations.
We do.
All right. First, meals. Oh my gosh, bringing meals over to the pastor and their family is huge when they're moving. Mm-hmm. One less thing for them to worry about, and they get to know you when you bring the meal over. Huge.
With that, what I would also recommend is make sure that you know any dietary restrictions or any lifestyle changes or lifestyle that they have.
Right.
So I know a colleague of mine is vegan, and so to bring a bacon casserole over.
That sounds delicious.
It does sound delicious
Bring
to me.
Bring it to my house instead.
Come over. We can be best friends.
Yeah, but you don't want to put the pastor in that awkward situation of being like,
I won't eat your food.
My family can't eat this.
Right.
Even though I know you spent a long time working on it.
Yeah. So
just ask those questions.
It's no big deal. Or the other thing too, gift cards to restaurants in town.
Yes, that's so great. It's easy.
Then they get to know local cuisine.
Yeah.
And they can also choose what they want to eat too.
Yeah. One of the best things my current congregation did for me was stocked my pantry. But they called me before we moved in to ask what kind of food we liked, and it was the best to come in, and I didn't have to go to the grocery store. They had bought milk for us. They had bought butter. I mean, that's stuff that you just don't have, and they had done all of it. It was amazing. Yeah. What a gift that was.
Absolutely.
It was a huge gift. Oh, so many things.
Yeah. I think also if you offer help to your pastor to unpack their office or to unpack their house or to babysit their kids, those are all really helpful things. But also don't be offended if they turn you down and say no thank you.
Yeah, because it's their personal stuff, and their kids may, you're new to their kids, and so that might be more stressful than helpful. But it's nice to offer.
Absolutely. Yes. Offer. But just don't be offended if they say no.
Yeah.
I think also make sure the parsonage is in order.
Yes,
if there's any repair work that needs to be done before they get there.
If you can paint before they come, that's huge.
Make sure it's clean. Make sure that it's just ready for the new pastor to come.
Another huge thing is being open to dialogue. To let them know that you love the previous pastor. If you didn't, you don't need to bring that up. But, it's okay to be open with us to say, you know what? That previous pastor buried my children, or they were with me when I found out about my cancer diagnosis. Like, we get it, because we just had that with a previous church too. Right. So there's no need to cover that up. You can be honest about grieving your pastor, but we also want to know that you're going to be willing to, start that relationship with us too.
Absolutely.
So don't feel like you have to hide that. You're grieving, but we're grieving too, because we just had a congregation that we loved. And so, we have to know that about each other and be sensitive to that. And it's okay. It's awkward maybe, but it's okay.
Yeah. Because, being open to each other is also being open to change, because things are going to change.
Right.
As much as we all say nothing's going to change, or we want to keep everything the same, or nobody really likes change, especially if they don't initiate it.
No.
But things are going to change.
And they should, because you don't want me to try to pastor like that last pastor, because then I'm not being the best pastor I can be.
Right. So just be open to change, and be open to being in conversation together of sharing when those changes are uncomfortable, not just uncomfortable, but offensive, or that it's just too hard to go. And we get it. Yeah,
we
absolutely.
Totally get it.
Absolutely. And you're in this together.
Whew. Transitions.
Yeah. So many things.
We are in it together. We're all in it together.
We're all in this together. We did that before, and I think we got in trouble for some copyright.
It's fine.
Okay.
Zac Efron loves us.
Yeah.
Watches the show all the time.
He's a pastor bestie.
Clearly, we need to transition out of this episode.
So make sure that we'd love to hear your tips and tricks as well. So if you're a pastor, if you're a clergy person who's done some moving and some changing of appointments, we want to hear what your tips and tricks are for starting well. Or if you're a congregation, what's something that you have done to welcome a new pastor?
I totally want to know that. That's great advice for us to have.
Absolutely. And that we share all of those together. And we own this. We own this content together.
Absolutely.
So share them using the hashtag Pastor Besties. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever the button is. It's probably going to be down there. Like it.
Do it.
Subscribe. And then you'll know when our new videos are coming out, so that you can watch them first and tell all of your friends.
And be looking for Transitions Part 2 coming next year.
Yes. So, may you be gentle with yourself. May you be gentle with others. as you move, as you transition, as things change. And may you know that God was in this place long before you were, and God will be in this place long after you are. So
Amen.
trust the Holy.
Oh, so good. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.